India's economic growth has been the focus for many years. However, the main obstacle lies in the lack of awareness about the root cause, which is the challenges in the education sector, especially in rural areas. The India at 100 series aims to tackle these issues and bring about a societal change by bridging the gap between quality education and low-income communities in our country. Presented by DCM Shriram Foundation with knowledge partner, the Indian School of Development Management, the show will explore these issues as well as solutions in detail. So let's take a look.
India is one of the largest and most complex education systems in the world. However, despite the significant increase in school enrollment in the recent years, schooling is not equal to learning in India. According to the ASER 2022 report, a large portion of children are not picking up basic skills even after they leave grade 5, reflecting a poor state of foundational literacy and numeracy or FLN among them. 80% of students in grade 3 in schools in rural India cannot read grade 2 text, and 74% of students in grade 3 in schools in rural India cannot do subtraction. This decline is further visible in grade 5. This learning gap becomes a serious problem as it causes continuous dropout from schools as children reach higher grades. This learning crisis is a serious issue and poses a massive hindrance to India's larger socio-economic development goals. Let's understand from the experts on why there is an urgent need to actively tackle this issue.
Hello everyone, my name is Ravi Sreedharan. I'm a co-founder of the Indian School of Development Management. In today's episode of India at 100, we're going to talk about foundational literacy and numeracy. To talk about this very important aspect of the education system in our country, we have Shaveta with us. She's the CEO of Central Square Foundation, and she's been doing work across several states in implementing the new education policy and Nipun Bharat in several states. Shaveta, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ravi.
Shaveta, let me start by asking you to help our audience understand foundational literacy and numeracy has gained a lot of attention in our country recently, especially with the new education policy. Could you help us understand why is it so important for a country at the stage of growth it is at this point in time?
If we look at learning data, specifically for early learning, which is foundational literacy and numeracy, grade 5 children who can actually read a grade 2 text at 42%. Less than half the children are able to read what they should have learned 3 academic years ago. For grade 3, this percentage becomes 20%. And Ravi, the way education journey is, children have to first learn to read, because middle school onwards, children have to read to learn. And if that transition does not happen, if the foundation of their ability to read with meaning, then the learning gaps only compound as children move forward in their education journey. So that's the reason why we need to focus on FLN in India.
Shaveta, this, as you said from the numbers, is a very complex problem and it's at huge scale that it needs to be addressed. And you've been working with the new education policy and Nipun Bharat in several states. Could you help our audience understand what are the sort of big pieces of work that need to be done to see a significant shift in foundational literacy and numeracy?
Strongly believe are the pillars around which the further work needs to be done. I think first of all is goal setting. The unfortunate reality, and you and I are a product of the Indian education system, is that for us learning has somehow become equal to curriculum completion. Whereas especially for FLN, we need to talk about skills and competencies. Changing the narrative from curriculum completion to what are the competencies and what are the grade level goals for that. This of course needs to be done across states and across languages, given the multiplicity of languages in our country. Second is, what is the appropriate teaching learning material for FLN? It cannot be just textbooks. Listening and speaking is intuitive. Children are able to do it at home with their parents, in the communities, but reading and writing is not. Math is abstract, unless it's the concepts are explained. So what is the additional teaching learning material, whether it's print rich classrooms, whether it's big books for read alouds, whether it's math manipulative kits for explaining concepts like fractions and number sense, teaching learning material. Third is teacher training, teacher professional development, and limiting it not just to teachers, but training and professional development for the entire system to be able to take the well-designed Nippon state missions into the classrooms, into the schools. And fourth is the need for rigorous data monitoring and accountability. Collection of actual learning data, both from an assessments and monitoring perspective, will be important to make sure that all these inputs are leading to change in classrooms.
When I think of school education, it's already so complex, at the scale at which operates, the textbooks, the curriculums, the teachers, the boards, and so on and so forth. But I am also aware that there must be several other social issues that are connected to education and foundational literacy and numeracy. What are those mindsets and normatives that you believe are important to address, especially if you want to make a shift in the FLN space?
All children just deserve the opportunity, they have the ability, and it's for us to give them that opportunity. I think that is most important. For all these inputs to actually bring about a learning change, I think at the heart of it, we will need teachers' adoption and practice to start changing in classrooms. I think that's really what we need to solve for together. India has a diversity of languages, not just across the country, but within a state. And the whole spectrum of multilingual education, the moment we start looking at rural areas and tribal areas, becomes even more critical. A child first needs to become competent in her home language and then make the transition at the right age.
If you had to, pick up 2-3 things that these organizations may want to think about in their work, in their planning, what would they be, and how can that be useful for them in their work?
I think one thing that we as a sector need is a transition from running programmatic pilots to actually supporting the system to strengthen. Second, also and this more at an ecosystem level, we need more maturity for the sector to evolve, and it comes from better talent and better metrics. But to ensure both of them come together at organizations, we also need a more informed donor who's not looking at quick wins programmatically, but is willing to stay the course and take a longer term view on change, which will be tangible, might be slow burn to begin with, but when achieved will stick in the system.
Thank you, Shaveta. Such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, Ravi. Thank you for having me.
And now the following video takes us directly to the heart of action, showcasing the remarkable work that's making a difference.
To effectively achieve the goal of foundational literacy and numeracy, the Ministry of Education launched the Nippon Bharat Mission in 2021 to ensure that every child by grade 3 attains proficiency in FLN by the end of 2026-27. Building on this vision, Central Square Foundation (CSF) is working closely with several Indian states that have rolled out their respective programs in response to the mission to transform children's learning. Teachers are committed to increasing children's participation in the classroom in order to achieve educational learning outcomes and ensure that children learn in the ways that are most effective for them. Through a combination of quality teaching learning material (TLM), regular teacher professional development (TPD), and comprehensive assessment frameworks to improve student learning outcomes and map children's academic journeys respectively, the Nippon Bharat Mission envisions a holistic, integrated and inclusive Indian education system in the years ahead.
इस तरह से हमारा देखते हैं कि बच्चे जो है एक्टिव होकर के सीखते हैं। पठन में क्या है कि समझ करके बच्चा पढ़ता है कि नहीं, रटने पे जोर नहीं देना है, समझ करके पढ़ ले रहा है कि नहीं, उसका अर्थ ग्रहण कर पा रहा है कि नहीं, जो पढ़ रहा है उसका अर्थ ग्रहण भी उसमें सम्मिलित है और फिर लेखन है।
As states ramp up their work towards achieving FLN for all children, keeping up this momentum becomes key to making Bharat Nippon.
To address the problem of foundational literacy and numeracy, we have to believe that all children can learn, irrespective of gender and their socio-economic background, if you want to see any meaningful, sustained change. Systemic change requires the coming together of the three pillars of social change: Samaj, Sarkar and Bazaar. This requires people and talent who bring strong system thinking abilities to design and implement interventions.